Do not move to Miami. Not if you're broke, not if you're chasing clout, and not if you just made a little bit of money, you're an entrepreneur, and you're starting to taste what it feels like to make 10, 20, 30K a month, and you see all these entrepreneurs online facading this lifestyle in Miami and why it's so cool and all the women and all the boats and all the nightlife. You're going to get sucked into a lifestyle that is going to chew you up and spit you out. And I'm going to talk about my lifestyle changes, what I decided to do, and why that mattered more for me. Not just looking at yachts and cool scenery all day, what really motivates an entrepreneur, and where I would suggest that you live, or your budget choices and things like that that I did that were very smart when I first started. And what most people don't tell you is most of these Miami entrepreneurs do not have 2 pennies to rub together. Talked to this guy last week. His bio says $6 million in Airbnbs, $15 million in hotels. He couldn't even buy my $10,000 program. Literally had not one, but also 2 excuses on why he couldn't buy. Timing. Oh, I don't have the money right now. I gotta wait for funds to kick in. All these real estate Miami people are broke. All the course sellers are broke. The ones who are really making money in Miami are the ones who actually own a house there and don't just rent. Okay, renting in Miami for the big cribs that you'll see online are $25, $30, sometimes up to $100,000 a month, which means you actually have real cash flow going. You're not just using credit to fund your lifestyle. There's a lot of levels to this game, right? And if you're making 10, 20, 30K a month, congrats, that's great. But think about preservation and longevity of the business more than just, okay, I'm a part of the top 2% of people in the world and I get to do whatever I want with my money. It's wrong. Okay, if you're gonna go to Miami, you're gonna spend $3,000 to $5,000 a month on rent minimum. Sometimes I've seen that go to 7, 8, 10K a month for a simple 2-bedroom, 1 bath, or 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath place at the Paramount. Paramount's over $10,000 a month in rent. I've seen other places, the Edition, those go for $10,000 to $15,000 a month. There's a lot of apartments there that look very nice. They are nice, but it's kind of like New York. You go to New York for $5,000 a month, you get a walk-in closet, okay? And New York's great, right? And it's not as superficial as Miami is. Most of the cars you see that are out and about, they're mostly owned by rental companies. They're not actually owned by owners, right? There are over 25 exotic car rental companies in Miami. That means the average exotic car rental company has about 10 cars. That's 250 cars. And let's say, vacancy is 20%, right? That means that 80% of those cars are on the road. So if you see 200 cars in a day, odds are only about 5 of them are actually owned, not rented. And Miami exotic car rentals are booming. And you see all the nightlife. You see Live, you see Space, you see all these things. But what you don't realize is that they're renting a lifestyle. Okay, bottle services are going to be $5,000 minimums per night. They're splitting it across 8 people. So everyone's putting in $500, $700 each. It's not that expensive, but you've been tricked into that facade. I did bottle service when I used to make small money. Now I matured a lot more. I would pay $2,000, $3,000 a night in Tampa, and I would pay for everybody because I was the one making the money. And that's why I'm the one who owns all my cars. I'm the one who owns my house. I'm the one who gets sucked into lifestyle in Miami. And this brings me to the illusion economy. Miami is not a business hub. It's not. There's not a lot of corporate business entities in Miami that are filtrating the space. There are headquarters there, but it's not a business hub, right? There's a lot of events that go through there because they have very nice hotels and very good hospitality. It's great for that. It's great for vacations, great for getting away, but it's not great to live and settle down there. You'll walk into Brickell, you see high-rise condos, you see Rolexes, you see Lambos, you see women with BBLs, you see all these things that make you believe that this is the lifestyle that you want as well. It is hard on the emotional, tenacity that you're having as an entrepreneur to keep up with the Joneses is the phrase that people have used for years. You see someone with a Lambo, now you want one. Then you see someone with a Bugatti, now you want one. You see someone with a richer million, now you want a richer million. Those things don't impress people who have money. Right now, I'm on the Ritz-Carlton yacht here, Ilma, and it's a pretty penny. It's 5 figures a week per person to come on a boat like this. The people who are on these boats are making 7, 8, 9 figures. Talked to a guy yesterday, runs an $80 million a year law firm. He wears fucking t-shirts from Walmart and pants from Dickies, okay? He's not impressed by a nice watch and a Lambo. He's impressed by personality, impressed by social proof. He's impressed by how you can actually hold a conversation. Are you a respectable adult who deserves his attention? He commended me. He's like, dude, you came on here alone. You can afford that. You must be doing something right. And that's a referral. That's now a connection. It's not this thing where I pull up into valet with a Lambo and all of a sudden I get attention. You get the wrong attention. with having those kind of things. And I love cars, don't get me wrong, but I don't post about my cars as much anymore because it attracts the wrong people inside of my ecosystem. If I just flash my McLaren and Bentley and Ashton all day long, I'm gonna get a bunch of kids and children who are in love with this Miami lifestyle, who want to make that kind of money, and they don't have what it takes because they're just looking at the outcome. They're not looking at the work, they're looking at the preparation and the consistency and the discipline that had to go into making that kind of money. They don't understand those things. They're in la la land. And most of these 7-figure entrepreneurs that you see online and in Miami, they're all using revenue screenshots. No one cares about revenue, guys. We care about profit. If you make $10 million in a year and you got 25% margin, great, dude. Start posting the profit. Not that you make $10 million a year, right? We run at a 23 to 26% profit margin. I run an 8-figure business that should give you enough of a definition of what I'm pulling home. And then I got taxes. I got to put that money away and I got to do all these things. I can't even buy a $10 million house yet, because why would I take the 25% profit that I've made for 2 years after paying tax, after doing real estate, and then take that, put that into a house in Miami that's 10 million bucks, it's 20% down. I'm paying $2 million to get in a home, and my mortgage is about $35,000 a month. That's a stupid financial decision. And I have a couple of budgeting rules you should be able to take with you in this video. Okay, number one is this. Anything I buy, I triple the price of it. So let's say you want a new Rolex, let's say you want a nice Wimbledon like this. Paid about 18 grand for this. You take 18,000 times 3. Am I gonna pay $54,000 for this watch right now? Is that a smart idea? If not, then don't do it. If you see that car on the line, it's 100 grand. Okay, cool, now it's 300. After interest is paid, after depreciation comes into play, that's why I do this 3x rule. If I'm gonna pay for rent, if my rent's 3 grand, is it good enough to be 9? I always triple the costings so that I know where I should cut the line and have the gray line, because that 3x is going to allow you to have breathing room, because when you're trying to live up to the lifestyle, when you're trying to live up to the fame and the attention, things can get in the way. Economies shift, buying behavior shifts. Things are moving in the stock market all the time. You need to be prepared, and that's why I call that like my 3x spending gap. It's been a rule I've used for years, and it allowed me to purchase, when I got my first ever nice car, was a Maserati Ghibli. Had about $120,000 saved up, and it was 39 grand. I said, okay, 39 grand, $17,000 down, I'm good. My debt to income ratio is solid. This is fine for me right now. My payments on that car were about $350, $375 a month. I was good with it. I forgot the exact amount, but 100 grand plus. Was I gonna go out and put $50,000 down in a Rolls Royce? Was I gonna go rent a car and get on a lease for $4,000 a month, $3,000 a month with little money down? That's not a smart decision. That $3,000 a month for 36 months to 100 grand, that's all I got in my bank account. So now I took that whole entire fun account and just dropped that into shit that I could have used the money for to push the business forward. And that's where most of these founders and entrepreneurs that you see in Miami, that's why I don't have a lot of cash. They're always strapped. They're always using credit and funding hacks and all this shit. That's not how you run a business. You can't only run a business off seed rounds, funding, and other people's money. At some point, you have to be able to retain cash flow to have a higher valuation, actually drive the business forward and start attracting A players. When you see these people in Miami, they can't attract A players because the way they act personality-wise outside of work is terrible. They have an ego. They throw money over your head, right? All those things. No one wants to work for you. Like, you don't have a personality. You don't care about people. These things matter when growing a business. And the other issue that I see is the comfortability that happens when you move to Miami. Okay, so you make 30 grand a month. You have a $4,000 a month apartment, $2,000 a month for dinners. You got a decent amount of expending coming in. Well, what happens next? That $4,000 apartment doesn't seem that nice anymore. Now you want to move to the $7,000 a month apartment. That $2,000 a month in dinners, now you want to start eating a Carbone more frequently. Now it's at $4,000. You see people jumping on yachts and going on rental parties, and now you want to rent a yacht every single weekend. Now that 30K needs to be 50K, and you're pushing your limits as you grow and scale. And now that 50K a month has lower margins because you're spending more money on staff and everything. If you're just raising prices only, that's the only way you're going to grow a business. So now you have to keep up with the Joneses, and now that 30K a month has about the same profit. You have a 50K a month because you're spending more money. You got to understand these things. Your lifestyle should be 10% or less of what you're spending on. So if you're pocketing $50,000 a month, you better be spending $5,000, $6,000 a month or less on just lifestyle. Buy nice clothes. You want to save up for a watch. Okay, take 6 months of that 5K and save up and buy a watch. But don't just buy it the month you have a big month. That big month could turn to a shitty month next month. Your ads could go down. Your payment process will shut you down. You could have a really important team member quit and put your business into a refund race. There are so many pivots of this that I just want you to understand. Like, when you're first getting off the ground, the biggest thing for me was, hey, listen, I want to have nice things, but I got to get to $500,000. Let me get $500,000 saved up so I have a nest egg, and then I can start buying some stupid shit. And that's when I got my, first McLaren. That McLaren was $80,000 down, triple the cost of that. That was $240,000. I was able to afford that. And then my payments on that were actually really good. I was paying $1,700 a month. It was a 2017 570S with 3,000 miles on it. It was pre-owned, one of my favorite cars ever. I miss that car so much. White, drop top, Spider Edition, really cool. And it was $1,700 a month for me to pay the payments on it. And I was only on a 48 month because I made the rest of my payments. I put a lot more cash up front. I would suggest if you're gonna take on any kind of debt, you come to the table with cash. Because if you were to get that same $180,000 car and put down 20, 30 grand cash, your payments would have been $2,700, $3,000 a month, probably would have had a lot of interest on it, longer payment options, and now you're paying more money over time. Same thing with a mortgage. It's okay to rent, but don't rent beyond your means. You spend $700 a month for 12 straight months. What is that, $84,000, $90,000? You're on a 3-year lease. Let's say that's 270 grand. If you just would have ate shit for 3 years, not bumped up the lifestyle, you would have had more cash on hand and then put that on a home that you actually own. You own equity of. When you rent, you don't own equity. You just have time and location freedom, which is important, but you don't deserve that yet because you haven't saved enough money yet. So keep these things in mind when you're deciding where to move. When I first got off the ground, I went from New York to Orlando. Then I went from Orlando to Tampa, Tampa back to Orlando, then Orlando to Phoenix. And that's what I did. And it was great. Okay, those were cheaper areas where I still had access to drive 3 hours to Miami. Orlando still had fun nightlife. Tampa still had fun nightlife. I lived in St. Pete too. You gotta make the best of where you live. It's about the friends you make there. It's about the people you have around you, not the glamorous shit around you, okay? I was, driving around a $200,000 car in Tampa, completely enjoying myself. I didn't have to go to valet and flex on people and do all this shit. I lived in a closed, gated community. I wasn't impressing nobody, okay? I was living with, people who were millionaires. I was living with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers football team that lived there. They would pull up in Ferraris. They would completely flex on me. You gotta be comfortable in your own skin before you start buying things that give you external factors. I can't stress enough how important it is now because now I have more to lose in my business. I got 100 plus employees. We got massive amounts of payroll every single month. I'm investing in team now, not in my own shit. I take one vacation a year. I don't buy cars as much as I used to. I don't buy watches as much as I used to. This watch I've had for 3 years. My rainbow dial I've had for 2 years. I haven't bought shit for myself in God knows how long. The last thing I bought was 2 dogs because those bring me emotional equity. It makes my life a lot happier, right? But buying things for external factors are gonna cause a really weird downward spiral and it's gonna cause cash to be tight. Also, focus on building your credit when you're getting off the ground. I know I'm rambling. These are one of the biggest mistakes that I made was trying to live up to lifestyle. And then my credit started hurting because all the loans I was taking out. You got to be careful with your money because it's going to creep up on you. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please, please, please drop in the comment section below if you have any questions about, hey, maybe should I move here? What have you seen here? I've traveled to probably over 40 different cities in the US. I know these environments. I know what kind of things to look out for and what I would suggest for you based on your income, based on what you're willing to expend, and obviously based on your cash reserves. So subscribe to the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.